Welcome everyone to Race to the Bottom. It's been a while since we've been on YouTube, and welcome back to our show co-host Canucklaw. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Back on YouTube until we're taken down again, right? Whatever.
Until Susan has a pissy fit again.
Yeah,
But Susan is awesome. She has a great attitude.
Yeah, she's like she's the type of person that when you take out on a date, you make sure you have two wallets with you, and you keep the one with the most cash hidden away, and you just keep a couple of 20s in there because that's the type that's going to take advantage of you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's been a while since been on YouTube because God knows when we're probably going to, like I said, delete it again. But at least some good news, right? That wonderful Ukrainian ally has been taken out, I guess, from the misinformation department. George Orwell, 1984, in the U.S.
Yeah, well, I think she just got maybe promoted. Maybe I don't think she's taken out.
Well, I don't mean taken out in terms of like what you and I are thinking. I mean, I'm saying that taken out of her position. And
or she's, of course you did.
Yeah, taken out. Either she's been forced out, which is the same as taken out of her position, or just she decided to call it quits. God, I'm leaning on the former rather than the latter, because I don't think she's the type of person that would make that. She comes off as a crass, bloated individual. So. Just trying to get my bearings here because it's been a while since we've been on. And I just wanted to show off my wonderful face here. So if everyone has noticed. By the way, you might find me on OnlyFans because I think I'm the hottest thing around, right? So keep out for me, and I'll be doing only the Ukrainian version of OnlyFans. Like, in more
on a related note, all of the stockholders of the OnlyFans are selling their shares.
Are they really?
They are now.
Well, they are now, yeah, right. I don't know what's real anymore because it's all like it could be real, it could not be real. God knows. Like remember, everybody a few years back was the CEOs were quitting and everybody was losing their minds. Oh my God, the CEO, the company, we're all going into financial collapse. Even though we are. But I don't necessarily think that's an indication of it. I just thought we'd turn up the tubes, and I was thinking I'm a little bit irate today. I think we could cover a few topics. Just I think you have a bunch. I'm kind of sick and tired of talking about all the medical crap. It's like we know it all. And at this point, it's kind of late, right? Like, who are you going to be trying to convince? I mean, we have an acceptance rate probably hovering around 90-95% anyway, right?
About that, yeah.
So it's like, I'm sick and tired of talking. Like, I'll mention it once in a while in the telegrams and shit, but Yeah, I'm just trying to edit the title here.
Well, I got unrelated stuff to do tonight, like different stuff to cover tonight.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of want to hit the immigration thing again. Um,
Yeah, I
that's
guess we could start with that.
Yeah, we could. But if you don't mind, I'm going to give
Oh, go
my,
ahead.
my little gripe intro. So, as we know, nobody's really paying attention to the immigration, right? There's like, Canadian immigration news. You should pay attention to that website. I'll bring it up. There are 2.1 people in waiting to get into this country, right? And I understand that's waiting, but that means
2.1 million.
2.1 million. Yeah. Yeah. Just think about that for a moment. So, with all that craziness and shit, and part of that, is tied to the climate change, right? And how disconnected these people are, because if you remove people from an area and you bring them all here, these people are going to consume more. Like, so for example, if you bring them from Africa, if you bring them from the Middle East, if you bring them from parts of Asia and stuff where resources are scarce, right, to begin with, and then you bring these people here of, to quote that one hockey announcer, the land of milk and honey, and they're going to see, wow, like I'm going to have a huge house. I'm going to have a car. I'm going to have like 5 Android devices and 6 giant, 1,000 inch flat screen TVs. And you're just adding more to the pile of junk that's just going to build these huge mountains of garbage heaps, right? Which will probably turn into a fucking ski hill. And they'll say, hey, look, we made a ski resort out of like masses and mounds of plastic garbage. So I was at Walmart today, and like maybe we can let me just change the title today. We're back. And then I'll update the thing. So maybe we can share the link if you want to. Let me just go in here. We'll probably get a little bit of a reverb. Copy link address. If you want to share it amongst your peeps, and I'll share it here as well.
I've shared it on my side.
Wow, you are fast. You are fast. Okay, so I've shared it there as well. Maybe I'll call it the Angry Ontarian. For now, I just said we're back. Yeah. So in regards to the movement of peoples and how it's tied to climate change. So I was at Walmart today, and I don't know if you've noticed it in your area, but basically all the Walmarts in our area, the actual cash reps are shrinking in number. So you're starting to see an expansion of the stupid self-checkouts and a shrinking of people actually working, right? And if you think about it, think about how fucking cheap do you have to be? Because, normally these jobs like McDonald's and Tim Hortons and Walmart's and, Zellers is dead, but, back in the day, they would usually be students, right? After school jobs, summer jobs. So a lot of these kids, would learn how to manage money. They would know the value of money. Because even now, with my kids, I give them allowance. They just think, oh, spend, spend, spend. But they don't understand the value of sweat, blood, and tears that's attached to that piece of paper. They have no concept of it. So when they go in the workforce, like many millennials, they just like, give me money. But they don't understand of doing your due diligence, right? Working your way up from the bottom. I'm not saying all do, but a lot of them. And so we went on that, and I think you're gonna talk about that, the TFW program. But then they start hiring TFWs, and you must be pretty fucking pathetic that you come here with basically zero skill sets. That's mostly geared towards young people, again, just to bear their roots and understanding what working means. And you're like a 40, 45-year-old, 50-year-old coming into a new country so you could work for basically, what is amounted to the lowest wage available, and a lot less because you're they're probably taking a portion of your salary, giving it to a recruiter or the place that you're staying at, and that has an impact on many variables. One of them is the fucking like it's a downward pressure on wages, right? Because we keep setting the new parameter for what the wage should be for that type of role. And I get it. Yeah, it's not a brainiac job, but some of these jobs, for some people gave them some extra cash if it was a second job, or for students. But these people come here, they can't communicate. They just fucking can't. And I apologize if I'm going to make this like little kind of funny accent, but this is basically how it goes. I go through a Tim Hortons and I say, I'd like a fiber muffin and a coffee with 2 cream. I don't. Okay, so you're going to have a coffee with 5 sugar and a hamburger. No, that's not what I said. I said, and it's just like you get frustrated. The person working there gets frustrated. And it's not an easy job, especially at that age. And then, like, oh, I came here to the country to support my family. You're supporting your family on this low income? Like, what kind of family do you have? Oh, I have 15 kids, 13 uncles, 22 brothers and sisters. Like, none of this shit makes sense. It's slavery, right? And nobody wants to admit it. They keep pushing this garbage. Like right now, my daughter has to do a presentation on NDP, and I'll bring that up later. Like I tried to help her with her to get a little bit of inception. But they're all basically the same. I'll show you with the UBI and what they plan on doing, like their ridiculous way of math and human nature. But yeah, and so I'm at Walmart. They can't afford these TFWs, and you're gonna bring that up right tonight about the new bill that's going through.
I got a few things on that.
Yeah, and so okay, fine. I have to self-checkout. I feel like I should be paid for this because, like, what am I really paying for? I mean, at some point they're probably gonna do what Amazon does, which is like, those little kiosks and you just push the buttons. And I want to, like, people get angry at me for this. Like, oh, you want to go and give Jeff Bezos. Yeah, I want to make Jeff Bezos the richest motherfucker on the planet so he can buy 5 solar systems, because at least I get it delivered to my door, right? So I get there to the self-checkout and all the bags are gone, like all of them. And I'm looking around. Maybe they're out on it. I go to the next self-checkout. All the bags are gone. So I asked one of the people there, and again, it's an Indian, Indian 40-year-old woman that looks like she's been like a train wreck, and she barely is able to respond. But she says, "Oh, you can buy a paper bag for 15 cents. So it's no longer 3 cents for a bag, right? A plastic bag. You have to buy a paper bag for 15 cents. So, or you could buy a reusable bag, cloth bag, for, I think it's like $6, 5 and change. And it's like, but why? And so I ask, and they don't understand. And there's a woman next to me, a lady with a mask, and her, I would say maybe 8-year-old, 9-year-old daughter, also with a fucking mask. And I'm telling this lady who's next to me, I was like, do these bags, like the paper bag or your reusable bag, does it have your logo on it? Oh, yes, it has our logo on it. And I said, well, if you're going to put your fucking logo on it, you should be paying me to take your bag and advertise for you. And the lady there scoffs at me next to me, but she doesn't understand the principle of it. And I'm looking at you, I go, lady, you're wearing a mask in summer. And you have a little child with a mask, which makes no sense because nobody's telling you to wear one. Although what they're playing on the speaker, Walmart makes an announcement, and the 3rd and 4th booster are now available and advisable to go get. Right? Like, everybody's pitching you garbage, but nobody ever thinks about anything. So watch this. Watch the spin of this. Okay, so you're going to make me advertise for you to pay you your price to put your name on a logo. I'm sure that, wherever they source their bags from, it goes to it could be the same factory, goes to a separate line, and then they have to tampo that bag with the specific logos from these different companies. So you're essentially not only paying for the logo, but you're also paying for the extra on the paper, and they're probably taking a cut. I did a long time ago, and this part of this money goes to Stewardship Canada, which is another bullshit organization. And I've kind of worked out, like, if the number of bags and the number of Walmarts that's being sold, and then, 3 cents, 5 cents per bag on average, people will have 3 to 5 bags. They're making millions with the number of Walmart locations in Ontario, with the number of sales from morning to late evening or closing. That's a huge amount of money that they're raking in for you to advertise for them. And it's just stupid. And then the thing is, because you have a cat, right? You have 2. I have 2, right? And those little bags come in handy, right? When you're cleaning out the litter box, I use those bags. Huh?
They're very handy.
They're very handy, right? And by the way, they're very biodegradable because they're made so cheaply. Like, often when I'm getting a Walmart bag, it's ripping already at the bottom, right? Sometimes I have to use 2 when I'm taking out the kitty litter because it's leaking. There's like holes everywhere. This shit, like, it's a lot more biodegradable than those thick plastic bags that they sell you for your garbage. So watch this. So where am I going to then source my little plastic bags for my pets' shit? And I see people also with dogs that take their dogs for a walk, and they carry these plastic bags. So when the dog poops, they pick it up, right? And they throw it in the garbage. So what is everybody going to do now? Oh, but don't worry about it. You can go and buy those pet plastic bags for your shit. Well, how much do those cost? Well, they're on average like $20 for like 10 bags. So you see how they get you? They continually fuck you. Like they take an instrument, and maybe it's like a ratchet when they're opening the back, but instead in the back it's going up your bum, and they make it bigger so they can insert without cream continually to you on the auspice of them being benevolent because we're looking after climate change. Think about the lunacy of it all. And all these people sign up for it constantly. It's fucking insane. So now I have to worry about, like, okay, well, shitty economy, gas prices going through the roof, but I'll have to spend more than what is necessary on a thicker plastic bag that's probably not going to biodegrade for your cat poop. So what am I going to do? Okay, well, I'll let the cats go free. Go free, my furry little friends. It's bullshit. And yeah, you could say, oh, we're going to reuse these bags and stuff like that. But often these cloth bags do you know what they're made out of, by the way? Has anyone checked what these reusable bags are made from?
Okay, what?
Rayon. And what is rayon? Plastic. So I'm buying like pencils, books for my kids and some other stuff, and I'm like carrying this fucking shit. So you know what I do? And I'm a complete asshole because I've kind of fucking had it with society. I'm like, okay, you want to play this game? Fine. You want to pretend play about the environment? I'm just going to be the asshole. So I'm like unboxing the packaging, the box, whatever. It out it goes all over the Walmart parking lot. If you're going to be like that. Because, like, what's the point? Today, I picked up more masks off my lawn. But these things, remember, are very hazardous. Extremely hazardous. But people just chuck them everywhere. Climate change, right? It's like one just needs to shake his head. And but anyways, so with that topic, on climate change and bringing hordes of people that are just, it's going to leave a vacuum in this place, and the people looking around their country, where did all the people go? Well, let's have more people, which is just going to, like, I don't know if people know this, right? The predator prey, every time we get involved by trying to save an animal, we fuck up the system anyway, right? Oh, like this, we should move this species, or I'll call this species, and then the other species just goes, and explodes, right? But anyway, on that topic, with the immigration, the hordes of moving people, and the climate change, blah, 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 blah. Tell us about this new TFW and student program and what's happening with that, and all these people that are here.
Okay, I got a couple different things. See where to start. Oh, you disabled sharing.
Oh, I did? Oh,
Yes.
my apologies. There you go. Share away. I love the name.
What?
Heisenberg.
My. Well, you can tell what it's probably watching a bit of last night.
Oh, yeah. That's a good show.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if all else fails, fuck, I might just become the drug god
Yeah.
of BC Interior.
Well, I've been learning about the laundering part of it, watching Ozarks. It's a good show.
Yeah. Okay, is this showing up on the screen?
Yep.
Okay. About a week ago, M44 passed, which is a motion essentially to instruct Trudeau to find new ways to give permanent residence to student visa holders and to temporary foreign workers. A motion vote.
Sorry, go
The
ahead.
vote
I'll
passed
just bring up the
324 to 0, meaning that everyone, including our so-called conservatives, voted for it. The motion was put forward by Randeep Sarai, which is kind of no surprise because the biggest group replacing Canadians right now is Indians. And the text of the bill, at least the motion, at least the important part, blah, 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 tell Trudeau within 120 days. Now, Part A, amend eligibility criteria under economic immigration programs to give more weight to significant in-Canada experience and expand the eligible occupational categories and work experience at various levels. Basically, keep them here. B, do check into the programs like temporary resident to permanent resident pathways, Atlantic Immigration Program, Rural and Northern Immigration Program, the Agriculture Food Pilot, and the Provincial Nominee Process. So basically review them, look for ways to expand them. And there's stuff that goes on about selecting people, matching with labor needs. And as for specific industries to target, healthcare, caregivers, agriculture, manufacturing, service industry, trades, and transportation.
So, can you pause for a sec here?
Yep.
Just to, like number C, incorporating data on labor market and skilled shortages to align policy on immigrant selection.
Yep.
Immigrant selection. So they're picking and choosing the best of the cream of the crop, up, adding to the brain drain of other countries, and leaving them with skills gaps. And they say with persistent labor gaps. So I just want to add a few things here. The persistent labor gaps narrative that they keep pushing is a bullshit narrative, like all the ones we've seen in the past 2 years and more. It's just companies unwilling to train and promote locals, going into post-secondary schools, getting skills, and then paying them the livable wages. Like if you get, I'm not saying that everybody should have a house. I'm saying if you want to have a house and then you go get that skill set to be able to afford a house, then that's what the cost of housing is.
Yeah.
Then you should be remunerated in that respect. But that's bullshit. These companies
Yeah.
are lying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a few related points. I didn't put them too much into the article. It was quietly announced recently, because typically when you graduate from college university program, you get a 3-year open work permit. Trudeau announced recently that for all the ones that expire in 2022, we're going to give an 18-month extension to. So those 3-year work permits are actually now 4.5 years. It's unclear whether this is just one time or whether it's going to keep going. Also in 2020, something that very few people know about, well, at least Canadians know about, the government quietly made some changes to pull the 20-hour limit for when students are in school. Like typically when you're in class, you're allowed to max out at 20 hours. That was removed. So theoretically, you could do 40, 50, 60 while claiming to be a student. And what else?
And I don't trust the numbers there because
Oh.
they don't know who's coming and going. They have a rough
Yeah.
estimate. Or maybe they do and they're just not telling us.
Well, those are the numbers I pulled off the various reports over the years. The biggest issue I have is I think the bulk of them stay, particularly the students. And also the Parliament has been holding hearings since February on the topic of boosting the number of international students coming in the first place.
I think the key one there is the 4.2 million babies.
Oh, yeah. I covered this about maybe 2 weeks ago. I did a little number crunching. Since 1970, we've killed over 4.2 million babies via abortion, and that's just what's on the books. I imagine it's actually a lot higher.
Yeah, and I bet the demographic pyramid that we have, which just kind of looks like a fat lady, you wouldn't have that, right? We would have definitely more incoming babies, but there's an excuse to bring all these people, right?
Yeah, we basically aborted a province the size of Alberta. That's what it comes down to.
Now, based on what happened in New York State recently, I won't mention the term, right? Because, God knows what animals these people are going to be labeling anybody that mentions that term. But in respect to that, right? So we've killed out 4.2 million babies, of who, who, what background, what racial background were they? But we're bringing in people who have a extremely high rate of a high birth rate. The replacement value is around 3 or 4. Yeah. So, hello.
I haven't done the article, but the World Health Organization estimates that approximately 73 million abortions happen globally. So you do a quick number crunching, that's about 3.6 billion people over the last 50 years. Again, just what's on the books.
But hey, climate change.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, and on the topic of population replacement, now my take is that the legal immigration is actually a far worse problem. But since we're on the topic of illegal, let's take a look at who's actually been coming across Roxham Road. The biggest group, Nigerians. Second is Haitians. Third is Colombians. Fourth is Pakis. 5 is Democratic Republic of Congo. 6 is Turkey. 7 is Sudan. 8 is Angola. 9 is Eritrea. And the 10th is the U.S.
Wow. Hold on. And I want the viewers or listeners to understand when it says USA, these could be those, we're not supposed to say wetbacks, right? Coming in through the South, they're not going to stay in the States. Just like we got a beautiful social system, just like in Germany, that's where they're going to be heading.
Yeah. So. It may take a while to get here, but a good chunk of them will be here at some point.
I'm just trying to check something of these totals here. I'm trying to see the replacement value.
This is just what I pulled off the IRB website.
No. I'm saying like couple this data, this matrix, with the birth rate. Like, for example, what's the birth rate of Haiti?
Well, it's pretty high, but they genocide whites, so I guess that balances out.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't find the birth rate. I'd have to do the math,
Yeah.
but
But
it's pretty high.
anyway, so this is where the bulk of them are, at least according to what's available. Let's see. And we got the new numbers for the new quarter are posted. In January, we let in 2,383 people, primarily through Roxham Road. February was 2,164. March was 2,502. And again, this is just what's on the books. So we let in over 7,000 people, primarily into Quebec. So, no, the border hopping is back in full swing.
I don't think it ever subsided. I think it's just an ongoing thing. They just, what's the new hot topic?
Yeah.
And now we're getting those Ukrainians. I think I played a video before. There was these Indians. It was an Irish guy, and he was playing the video, or he was interviewing a bunch of Indians.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Ukraine."
Yeah.
So, by the way, even if they're Ukrainian, I don't want them, and the reason is because I don't know what I'm getting, right?
Yeah.
And it's probably most likely Ukrainians that we don't want.
Okay. Yeah. Also, this is from 3 years ago, but worth bringing up. Canada ended the DCO, the designated country of origin. Essentially, there's about 42, 43 countries, primarily in Europe, that because they're recognized to be safe countries, if people come from there, their deportations are expedited. And I like to shit on Harper, but that was one of the few good things he actually did was implementing that in the first place. Because I don't want our system clogged up with, say, British refugees or French refugees. I don't want that. But 3 years ago, Trudeau got rid of it. The Safe Third Country Agreement is, at least for now, still intact since the Federal Court of Appeals overturned the ruling last year. That being said, because the loopholes are built right into it, it's by and large kind of worthless. So we effectively don't really have borders in this country. There's one other little thing I want to bring up. Since we're worried about student visas or people coming on student visas in such numbers, we also have the problem that that we don't have to wait for them to be students. So they can just come here. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Groningen. It's Dutch, I believe.
Groningen.
Yeah. Basically, the idea behind this is it's a group which Canada's part of, looking for ways to essentially validate and carry people's diplomas and degrees across other countries. Essentially, the way you would just mass transfer workers.
Sounds like Canuck.
Yeah. Well, so if you say I don't know, had a science degree in India, well, close enough, whatever. You can just head off to Canada or, some professional or health trade. Now,
hold on.
Why students should worry is what about the Canadian students who are paying through the butt to get an education here? They could simply be replaced by someone who picked up supposedly a similar equivalent.
That's what I meant. That's what I was, talking about at the beginning of the show, which is putting a downward pressure on the wages. Now, if that student, I think, should be able to go to these other parts, and I think they'll probably welcome him. But the standard of living is much different, right? That's why these people are coming here. They're not. They can have a very good living. Like if you have a medical degree in India or China, you can have a decent living. But it's not going to be anything like here in the West. So why would I spend the amount of monies that a student would be here? Now, let's be fair. The Chinese that primarily come to our universities are paying huge fees, right?
Yeah.
I've already added this, that it's in the, what was it? 1 year they made some 1.2 $3 billion, the universities, and they're still getting funding, by the way. But
Well, the universities, like for foreign students, yes, they pay more on paper, but the difference is they don't get the subsidies that are available to locals. So, from the perspective of the schools, that doesn't really make a difference. However, since Canadian students are deciding maybe college isn't for me, you have to make up that somewhere, and you've got a much bigger foreign market to tap.
well, I don't think even subsidies play a role in it. When I was looking at the amount of funding that these, I think I'll bring it up, that they get, like it's obscene. Just in the last year, these universities got in collectively, I think, 300 mil. Was it close to 3 billion collectively in Ontario? All these colleges and universities. So, and they're on top of that making that money from these foreign students, and then on top of it, the locals. Like, what the fuck are they doing? It's a racket. Like everything has become a fucking racket. Now,
Well, I think it always was, but it's just more obvious.
so let me
Uh,
bring this article
just
up.
one last little thing I want to. I was at the college in my area recently,
Hmm.
and no, I took the photo myself, so I can show you this is legitimate. Um,
Oh, you still.
Recycling used COVID masks is now a thing. Now,
Oh,
keep in mind, this is
Can we not? I want to avoid
okay.
that. Sorry,
Sorry.
because
So
I just
just for kicks, just
yeah,
for kicks.
I understand, but
Um,
I just got
okay,
off of this
okay.
uh the strike, and I don't want to get back on it. Right? It took a long
It's
time to.
and it's quite entertaining.
It is,
But
but
recycle, people. It's for the good of your planet.
let's just. I'm gonna share my screen with you. So on that topic, there. This is a very good website. Again, cicnews.com. I subscribe to it because I want to see what these lawyers, these are all foreign lawyers, foreign born lawyers, most of them. You can see here who wrote, like this lady here, Shelby Tevnot. She's from Quebec, I believe, and then Kareem El Asail. So most, like, these are just mostly foreign born lawyers. But here's the article. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Let me know if you can see it. So IRCC's application backlog grows beyond 2.1 million people. That's a backlog. Think about that, because you just read out that the new bill had passed to give extensions for students and temporary foreign workers, but there's also a backlog of 2.1 million people.
Yeah. So I'm guessing a lot of this is just essentially if they turn everyone into permanent residents, they can just bring more people in and without quote unquote pumping up their numbers.
Yep. And, like, again, I can't mention the term, right? But what else would it be but okay, let me put it this way. I think I can come up with a new term. A population paradigm shift.
Okay.
That, like, this
Well,
is.
yeah.
Hmm?
Let's bring Mr. Callergy on the show. Let's see what he says about that.
Oh God. I probably want. Well, I can't say. I don't want to get in trouble.
I mean, he's been dead for 50 years, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, probably. I would like to, but never mind. I won't say anything. Probably skull. Okay, skull fuck his dead corpse. Anyway, I said it. There you go. I'm just joking. It's a joke. It's a joke. Okay. Yeah. So it says here, Immigration Canada's backlog of permanent residents and temporary residents and citizenship applications grew by nearly 99,000 people in 18 days. This was published on May 10th, last week. 18 days, man. 18. Think about 100,000 people. Now, this kind of goes along with Century Initiatives and some other organizations which shall remain unbracketed, that are helping bring in hordes of people. Apparently because we don't have enough skilled workers. But that again, we talked about that. It's all bullshit because they've been using onshoring, offshoring, and now we're bringing these people in. You're telling me, but then who the fuck is going to Waterloo University, which is our MIT, or York University, UFT, University of Calgary? What's with all these people that are going there? Are we doing that well? That's the question. I'm asking. Is our economy booming?
Apparently, it's booming.
It is.
That's what I've been told.
Okay. So, I guess when I talk to friends and family and they're losing their jobs left, right, and center. Moving on. Canada's immigration backlog has grown by blah blah blah. I already read that. I don't have to read that. Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada backlog has progressed as follows since last summer. So remember, everybody's in lockdown, and I've read in Angry Albertans chat about people having problems getting back into the country. I think they were coming from the States or somewhere else. I was reading someone's entry there about them being tested and then being under house lockdown for 14 days and then being retested and asked all these questions just because they refused to give out their medical status. So we're being treated like, we're not being treated like citizens, period. So from April 30th to May 2nd, this year, right? All this year, 2.1 million persons. So then we have from April 11th to 12th, 2 million March. So you could see, now this is all cumulative, right? The numbers are growing. But you could see that back in 2021, we had 1.7, 1.8 people in waiting to come here during a supposed medical lockdown.
But it's only a lockdown for the little plebes.
Right. Here, this kind of complements that bill that you were talking about. The temporary residence inventory has doubled since last April. The citizenship inventory has grown from 240,000 people to 400,000 people, almost double. IRCC has struggled to manage its inventory during the pandemic for a variety of reasons, such as the social distancing and travel restrictions put in place. By the way, to any people listening, like from Angry Albertans channel, a lot of these people are going to go to your province. So, like, some people mention, oh, you can't mention this one individual of that cultural background. I'm like, no, when there's enough of them, trust me, they're gonna act like pack animals. They're going to collectivize because that's what they do, right? They come from these countries that are very similar in how they dress, eat, speak, their colloquialisms, all of it. And once we shrink to a number, I guarantee you, if we hit the 20% mark, I'm going to ask this. I've brought this up and I've mentioned it before, but it's worth mentioning it again. What happens if we hit 20%? Are we still going to enjoy a lot of the benefits of what the old stock Canadians built this country on? It's a question. I know it's rhetorical, but
yeah. You mentioned Alberta. It's actually you kind of remind me of something I put out 3 years ago regarding the Alberta election. You know how Jason Kenney took over big time from Rachel Notley?
Hmm.
I wrote something in the caption was rural Alberta votes for Kenney in a landslide, even as he promises to replace them. Because Kenney was pumping his at the time his rural immigration pilot project to get even like the smallest towns in Alberta uh, set up these with these types of
Well,
programs.
he just won his election, and I've been reading in Angry's chat that he's stepping down, which is
Yeah, and
hilarious.
I mean when he won became premier in 2019.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, he quite openly promised like I'm gonna essentially flood small town Alberta, and they voted for him anyway.
So I'm just going to go over a few of these. I'll share the screen again. A few of these articles on the topic of Alberta. Alberta lifts restrictions on temporary foreign workers. This is May 3rd. Province is looking to help employers meet their workforce needs. I'm wondering if the whole thing, the last 2 years, was just an excuse to get rid of, fair wage workers to replace them with lower wage workers. And then because if you didn't get your, sorry, we need to replace you. It just seems like it's all like a nice, neat puzzle that fits together.
I've actually thought exactly that same thing many times.
Mm.
I think it was late 2020. Ottawa announced that they're doing an expedited PR access for refugees who want to work in healthcare.
Going on here, the Canadian government operates the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, TFWP, and was refusing to process TFW applications for these occupations on the advice of the Alberta government. That's Kenney. These were occupations that, according to the Alberta government, had labor surpluses. Double talk or double speak. Alberta was seeking to encourage employers to hire unemployed Albertans for these occupations instead. Alberta has justified the loosening of its TFWP restrictions on the grounds it will support sectors of the provincial economy that are grappling with labor shortages and are struggling to find Canadian workers. Again, it's a bullshit excuse.
Part of the problem finding Canadian workers is, let's just say, and I won't don't upset Susan. Let's just say there were a few conditions put on that a lot of people don't agree
Right.
with.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right. So there's that one, and then we have. Mind you, again, these are lawyers operating. To me, they're like foreign agents, basically. Foreign insurgents, in a way. Here's one. Canada providing charter flights to facilitate the arrival of Ukrainian refugees. This was posted not too long ago on May 13th. 3 charter flights are being provided for Ukrainians to the travel from Poland to 3 different Canadian provinces. Over the next few weeks, Ukrainians who have been approved under the Canadian-Ukrainian can you help me? Because I'm tongue-tied right now. Authorization for emergency travel, and their family members will have access to chartered flights to Canada. Who's paying for that? Those who obtain
your taxes.
Well, yeah. Again, like, what's the point of voting? Like, I just mentioned that Jason, I saw it in the chat. I wasn't really paying attention to their election, but Jason Kenney won, and then he quit. and I said in the chat, in a colloquial fashion, I said,
Well, it was a leadership review. He decided that 51% wasn't good enough.
Right.
And from a certain perspective, yeah, I kind of agree with him.
But still, you fought hard, and you have people elect you based on that, and then now they're just going to put another guy who's going to bend over faster for Klaus Schwab and his gang of sycophants. But look here, these who obtained their visa to come to Canada will receive an email with details on how to register for flights. God, like we're helping these people. Like, this is how you do it. This is how you come out. You might as well just give them like a fucking free pass. Fuck, you know what? Even better. Let's just erase the border. There's no more border. It's all open. Come anybody. You can. Anybody can be whatever they want to be. Oh, you coming in as an elephant? You identify as a giraffe? No problem. You can come in. The following flights out of Poland will be available and approved. So here's the 3 places. Thankfully, they're not coming to Toronto. We're all stocked up here. May 23rd, coming up from Winnipeg to, they're going to go to Winnipeg, Manitoba. And then another one is Montreal and Quebec. Great, keep them there. Don't let them come here. And then another one on June 2nd to Halifax. They're spreading the love. By the way, as I mentioned, there was a video in Ireland about these Ukrainian immigrants that were actually Indian. And I think we played a short clip of, let's just say, very dark Ukrainians acting as refugees. Ukrainians wishing to travel to Canada also have access to commercial flights subsidized by a special fund. Let's go to this special fund and check this out. And again, this is under the government of Canada. New partnership to help Ukrainians come to Canada. April 2022, Halifax. The government of Canada is resolute in its commitment to provide Ukrainians and their families. By the way, we're bashing Russians. Do you understand? We're being racially discriminatory by bashing Russians and, making them feel ostracized. They may not even agree with the conflict, by the way. And made to feel like inferiors. Meanwhile, all of these people, all of these politicians from all of these stripes are telling you, well, we're a multicultural society. We accept everyone. So they're basically giving out money to bring these people here. So it's not even like a lot of the Syrians that were coming here were very wealthy, by the way, buying their own flights to come here. And then we buy them like a $2,000 Canada Goose jacket when they arrive at the airport. As of today, Canadians and Canadian companies can donate to Aeroplan. Who's Aeroplan? Is that Air Canada?
I think that's Aeroplan points in general.
Okay. Can go through Air Canada. Dum dum dum. Okay.
For those who want to donate cash, the Jewish Foundation of Greater Toronto will be collecting donations on behalf of Ukraine to Canada Travel Fund.
Dum dum dum. I didn't want to read that, but anyway, since it's there, you might as well point it out. Let me highlight that just in case someone missed it. Boom. Hey,
a tax refund, so it's a charity.
Is Israel accepting any Ukrainians? Just as a question, I was just thinking.
Shut up, racist.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean it. I really apologize about that. Sorry, really sorry. It's a joke. I'm laughing. What's this? The Shapiro Foundation. By the way, I'm just seeing this for the first time.
Any relation to Little Ben?
I don't know. Let's check. Like, I swear, you go down these rabbit holes. This is the first time, obviously, I'm seeing this document, but yeah, Shapiro Foundation. I wonder. Shalom. Help us welcome Afghani allies to America. Who does it partner with us about us? Okay, it's Ed and Barbara Shapiro, along with two young Boston, Wharton School figures. So we have an American foundation. Okay. getting involved in moving. We have an American foundation working with our Canadian government to bring in refugees. Oh boy. And then we have Air Canada, which by the way, so Air Canada is helping with this, right? Does anybody know that Air Canada has
Didn't we bail out Eric? Did we bail them out last year?
Yeah,
for
hold
like
on.
$10
Keep
million?
that thought. Keep that thought.
Okay.
Air Canada just recently started the Air Canada Foundation. Now, say what you just said a moment ago.
Oh God, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, this does kind of make you a little bit batty, doesn't it? So
It does.
we gave them how much last year?
I think the last bill it was 10 million.
10 million? We gave them 10 million. By the way, they give each other bonuses and fired a bunch of people, right? They furloughed and fired and then demanded, let me put in air quotes, in the last 2 years, you know what? We're upping, watch how all this is fucking interconnected, right? We're upping our immigration rates. We're aborting huge amounts of little people, little taxpayers, future taxpayers.
And the ones that survive are turning them all homo so they won't have kids.
Yeah, and butchering these little kids, cutting off body
That
parts
too.
and
That too.
and turning them into mindless automatons. And these guys flip a foundation in the last year. Coincidingly with this Ukraine situation, and we're bringing in these people and they're part of like paying for their flights. So,
and I don't remember anyone voting for this. Not the voting matters, but
I'm voting, yeah. Let's go vote. I still hear retards like, I'm going to vote in 2024 for Donald Trump. And you try to point all this shit out. And then they like, you're a nihilist and stuff. Okay, whatever. Like, you know what? You're an idiot.
Well, I got called a nihilist, and my typical response is, what am I wrong about?
Yeah, it's just we spoke about this before. I said I don't want to do the right, left, right bullshit anymore. I'm fuck all these people. Like, if you can't see through this thing, because at some point, remember, some of the liberal points weren't bad. Like a long time ago. I'm not talking about now, right? Like, they're lunatics now, but they were kind of reasonable. Like, they hated big corporate elites, or not hated, they just didn't dislike them. And now the conservatives have no option, or so, I believe they have an option. Just they're playing within the system. Everything's shifted so far left that the conservatives are now sitting on the left side of the spectrum. They've passed the center. Right? Like, they're like, oh, let's gays can be this and that, and you can be a giraffe, sure, if you want to vote. You can be a sea animal.
Just as long as you pay your taxes.
Or vote.
But primarily pay your taxes.
Yeah. Well, by voting, you're paying your taxes, right? By abstaining from it and not recognizing all of these people as legitimate. I'm saying, I get all the points saying, well, you should vote and it makes a difference and stuff. But not voting also makes a difference because it sends a bigger message, because they freaked the fuck out. Last time, when on the second run of Harper's election, the voter turnout was such dog shit that Albertan educators in the post-secondary educational circles were discussing mandating voting. I want to see them pull that shit. Yeah. Like, please do that.
Yeah. Well, since you mentioned voting, when you're done there's a little tiny thing I wanted to bring up.
Sure.
If you think that voting matters,
Yeah,
It's a short one, don't
let's
worry.
hold that. So I'm just going through,
Yeah.
like, so here's the odd part, and this is all racketeering, charities, which maybe I'll bring it up on another stream. I don't feel like doing it tonight. Our good fellow researcher, I don't want to because she needs to change her username, but you know I'm talking about you. She's provided like a huge list of charities that are getting huge amounts of money from the government, i.e., you and me and
Yeah.
everybody else. And then you have the non-governmental organizations, then you have the non-profit organizations. All of these people work together in funneling the fucking monies around, so you don't know where the money's going in and coming from. But it's all coming from one source, you and I, because the government's divvying it out and it's making these stupid partnerships. But look at this. So you have a foundation, but then you have other foundations working with them. So if the Children's Aid Foundation, which probably have a certain set of parameters that they look after, are now collecting money, but then giving the money to someone else, then that I don't feel comfortable. Like, why would I give? I gave you money for a specific reason, for a specific purpose, and now you feel that it's necessary to divvy it out. Plus, people need to understand that they only need I think it's by law, they give out 20% of what they collect, right?
I think it's around 20, yeah.
20%. So these organizations, and by the way, guys, if you really want to understand about foundations, Ozark is on right now. And like I could suggest certain streaming services that are going to be very light on your wallet, feather light. But Ozark, the last season is very good. You know why? They talk about foundation. So this couple is trying to weasel themselves out of laundering money for the cartels. So they start a foundation to wash it all out clean. And all of these they're getting all these politicians to donate and stuff, and they'll get kickbacks. That's how it works. Like, it's funny. Sometimes cinema gives out these truths, but people are too fucking dumb to understand. That's how it works. That's exactly how it works. It's a fucking racket. So it was funny. It was like really interesting watching these two like set up this foundation and how they're washing the money and getting these politicians to support it and donate through people's taxes and shit. It's fucking hilarious. But anyways, so there's that. So yeah, and it's funny they mentioned Helen Keller, which I don't believe is a real story. So yeah, it's kind of hilarious. They have a foundation now, and then like this is crazy. Who's this? Sean Fraser. The outpouring. Wait a minute, Sean Fraser.
He took over from Mendocino.
He's on the WEF, right? He's a WEF member.
I believe so.
Yeah, he's the younger looking at. Yes, he's a World Economic Forum member. And I shall have everybody in the place in the governments. Ha 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 ha. Let's read his quote here quickly. The outpouring of support from our Canadian... hold on. I have to get into the emotional cue here. The outpouring of support from our Canadians, coast to coast, who are stepping up to support Ukrainians fleeing Putin's war, has been remarkable. This new partnership with Miles for Immigrants, Migrants, the Shapiro Foundation, Oy vey, and Air Canada is a testament to the Team Canada approach in supporting the world's most vulnerable, and we will help bring thousands of Ukrainians and thousands and thousands and thousands quickly and safely to Canada. We are grateful for the generous offers to help, and we will continue to do everything we can to support our Ukrainian brothers before and after they arrive in Canada. So even after they arrive in Canada, like, what do you? like what they're doing to the Irish, right? Did you hear about like Dave Collins been on about like their governments are saying, well, if you have a cottage or you have a secondary home that you're using as a kind of like a like to have as supplementary income, you're renting out, but you also have
Yeah.
you're building up your wealth, or maybe you just want to give it to your kids. Nope, sorry, you got to open it up to Ukraine. It's like, I'm sure we'll get there, right? I'm sure we will get there.
Yeah.
This is, ooh, well, who's this mile for immigrants? This is a new one. I wonder who these. Have you heard of these guys before? God, there's so many
Uh,
of them.
it's hard to keep track, to be honest.
Yeah. Look at this. Oh, here. I don't. Again, I think this is another STG following organization that's probably not even located in Canada. Yeah. See, one plane ticket, donate 40,000. Yeah. Right. Look how poor they look, though. Oh boy. Anyways, okay, so that's all I had for that. But you wanted to mention something in
Yeah.
terms of
Oh,
foundation.
and by the way, Matt's in the chat. You might want to say hi.
Oh, hey Matt, how's it going, brother? Everybody, check Matt the Unseated's channel. If you want to put a link in there, if you can find it,
Okay.
for people to view. He's been doing some great work. Another like feet on the ground researcher, which we don't often do. We sit behind our the safety of our desks and chairs, but he look into his. I like when he stopped and spoke to the PPC leader,
Yeah.
who, by the way, still sends out emails to me to ask for money. By the way, I just know how to. I gotta get into the French accent. I just want to tell you that you should be giving me money because like I have freedom. Freedom is very important to me, and I only made $300,000. Sorry, now I'm sounding like a Chinese. I'm mixing the Chinese in there, but yeah. Anyways, do check out his channel. I'll leave a link in the description later on.
Okay,
But
hang
yeah,
on. I'll put the link in right now.
cool.
I'm just-
So you also wanted to bring up the
Yeah.
um,
Where is it?
the,
Yeah.
the foundation.
Since. Okay.
I'll stop sharing.
Since we're having, or federally there's a leadership race going on in the Conservative Party. You know how we like to judge books by their cover. I'm a little concerned with one of the people who runs Paul Everett's campaign simply because.
Oh God, Baird. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I've mentioned this, I don't think we've had it on a stream.
Nope.
John Baird used to be a cabinet minister back when Harper was prime minister.
Just a kid.
Now, after leaving office, Baird hooked up with a rather interesting organization called CIJA.
Thump.
Yeah,
Of course.
and he was a direct. I believe he left last year, but he was a director for a couple of years. Why this matters is because if Paul Everett's writing the whole shtick about, vote for me and become the freest country in the world, except his campaign director used to work for this organization, I've got some questions. Specifically, if you were to go look up their lobbying record and see what CIJA promotes, long story short, they're very, very, very heavy in efforts to combat hate speech.
Well, if you pause here for a moment, would you mind if I read it
Oh, sure.
with the gusto?
Yeah.
A report to government and stakeholders on the outcome of the campaign, the Digital Citizen Contribution Program. Digital ID. Supports the priorities of the Digital Citizen Initiative by providing time-limited financial assistance that will support democracy and social cohesion in Canada in a digital world by enhancing and or supporting efforts to counter online disinformation and other online harms and threats.
CIJA's profile on the federal lobbying site is huge. They've basically been lobbying on average roughly once a week for the last 22 years. Like it's ongoing.
Well, and they probably work very closely with the Heritage Society.
Oh, they work with a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, because we know who wants to bring in a digital ID.
They're also working on amending the Canadian Human Rights Act as well as the Criminal Code for certain hate speech offenses. A certain one, which I cannot specify, if you're found guilty of, will put you in prison for 2 years. Let's just say a certain controversial opinion you're not allowed to publicly express. But anyhow, that's who Baird used to work with. He's now running Paul Evra's campaign for CPC leadership. I've got some problems with that.
I would, you know what? They're all compromised. All of these politicians don't give a rat's ass fuck about any of us. It's all about lining their pockets and getting to that table, or let's say concentric circles of tables that are reporting to the UN. By the way, the WEF and UN had made agreements that they're going to work together. That's fucking spooky. By the way, someone did send me on Telegram. I just want to make a correction here that the Air Canada, he sent me this link. Air Canada did launch its foundation on March 2012. But it is interesting that they did launch it. Again, it's quite a few years ago. But you have to still question that 50 mil, or was it, I think, 10 mil that they got? I think it was 10 million that they got. Is this now being used to fund that whole conflict in the Ukraine? But I think that 2012 was the same period that they were having that initial conflict to begin with, right?
Well, Ukraine's had several conflicts over the years. Of course, Air Canada's, because they're going to be flying quote unquote refugees in kind of open ended, that's going to generate a lot of business for them. Well, it puts a lot of butts in seats, all the taxpayer expense.
On that, I'm thinking I'm coming to a close, but on that digital thing, I thought maybe I could bring this up. So give me a sec while I load the page and share the screen. So this just not too long ago, the Digital Services Act in the EU Commission welcomes political agreement on the rules ensuring a safe and accountable online environment. Now, from a very high level objective view, this looks good, right? Because people are operating more online, so you would want to ensure that there is some mitigation against fraud and stuff like this. But it's very, when you get into the nitty gritty of it, it still tries to push the whole digital ID, and to me, digital ID just means knowing everything about you. Just bring this here, like the ktdi.org, which is unlocking the potential of digital identity for secure and seamless travel. This is an organization, by the way. These are pilot partners, meaning they already have projects in flight for promoting digital ID. Now, there was something going around the telegrams and stuff about it. It was poor spelling. You noticed that the link is not really functional in terms of what I think what the person tried to do is highlight that Air Canada is using this known travel digital identity, and they want to put in biometrics. Biometrics isn't anything that's not new. Part of this pilot, the KTDI, was the Nexus, which I never signed up for. I would not sign up for that Nexus program. Oh, it's just easier. I show a card, I get in the States. But why is it easier? Why wouldn't it be easier with showing your passport? Like, why would you? Because you have to give them all the details, and you just have it online. So here are the partners: World Economic Forum, the Canadian government, a lot of airports, KLM, IDEMA, Air Canada, Accenture. Accenture was actually, it was interesting enough because sometimes there is journalism by these creepoids we call the media. There was a look into the company of Accenture and how much intel they have with the government and all these like telcos and secret agencies. So that's something to keep in mind. Very kind of light website, but anyway, there was something here. did I highlight this? Let me see if I can find it in a Telegram. Because if you go to my Race to the Bottom channel on Telegram, I highlight some of these articles and then underline. I just can't find it now. When I always want to find it, I can't find it. That's what pisses me off. Again, with the Cantera project, I'll talk about that on another stream. I'm not going to do it today. Okay, it's here. I found it. It's the first content here. Here, I'll make this bigger. It will provide better protection for internet users and their fundamental rights. I always cringe. My hair stands up on all its ends because anytime somebody mentions specifically government organizations about rights, I always seem to have less of it. As well as define a single set of rules in the internal market, helping smaller platforms scale up. That's that new digital program that we have right now with the government. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Why do these people always sound like some sort of Bond villains? Today's agreement on Digital Services Act is historic, both in terms of speed and substance. The DSA will upgrade the ground rules for all online services in the EU. It will ensure the online environment, this is critical, remains a safe space, safeguarding the freedom of expression, bullshit, and opportunities for digital business.
Yeah, whenever I hear safe space, I think censorship.
Now, further into the document I have here, and I'll leave a link, you guys can read it, but you could also join the Race to the Bottom Telegram channel. I post stuff there with the links. A couple of things with their new measures. I think it's here. Right. The provision of access to vetted researchers. Vetted by who? To the key data of
and also, sorry, vetted for what?
Right. Exactly. Good point.
Yeah, because when you vet someone, you're essentially doing a background check on them. Okay, what are you checking for?
Right. To the key data of the largest platforms and provision of access to NGOs. Again, here we go with this fucking non-governmental organization. I don't like you. You're not voted. I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't know who you're hiring. Right? As it regards access to public data to provide more insight in how to online risks evolve. Further down, measures to assess and mitigate risks such as, here we are, mechanisms to adapt swiftly and efficiently in reaction to crises affecting public security or public health. So, eventually when they come in, they always say we're going to solve your problem. We're going to make it better. We're going to make it more equitable. It's never the case. It's never the case, especially with this new push for these massive governments. Now, I want to bring up something related to Canada. I'm trying to make this bigger. Can I make it bigger? No, I can't make it bigger. But you can see the screen, right? So it says there,
Yeah.
COVID-19 vaccine Canada. I don't want to say that too much. Anyway, we know what's been happening in the last 2 years. They are updating their recommended vaccine schedule. And this is just of this April. These statements will be incorporated into the GIC blah, blah, blah chapter as quickly as possible. And they call it Covivence. Here they're recommending a bunch of stuff, right? NEIC, which is kind of the regulatory, again, they work with FAC, right? Has also added a new discretionary recommendation for a dose on all other adolescents. A first dose may now be offered on everyone of 12 years of age and over. And that's coming from that whole digital thing, right? So, there's that. Oh, and there's one more thing I think I want to mention. Did you want to mention anything else?
Um, no, I think I'm good. I didn't really have a long one in me tonight.
Mm. Yeah, we'll go. Now that we're
Yeah.
back on the YouTubes, we can do this more regularly, more often. Because, hey, guys, you can check us out. We are on D Live, and I'll leave a link in the description. We're there as a kind of Canuck. I have a Bitchute. Canuck has a Bitchute. We'll upload these videos as well. But we'll try to find some other avenues. If we go offline again, we're
Yeah.
on D Live.
I also keep a backup on Rumble and Odyssey.
Mm. So I just want to bring us back to like some stuff that's been going on around me. So my kid has to do a presentation, and they've been assigned to speak about the NDP and all the good points and add funny memes against the other parties. So what I actually tried to do, Inception, right? Inception. Uh, like try to wake up these kids, right? So she presented, and I tried to say that the Jack Meat is part of the WEF organization, but she was a little bit afraid, right? Because a lot of these kids are just being mind warped into like the next generation is going to be so fucked because they're breeding little automatons. They're just going to be like most Chinese. They don't even know their history, right? If you mention Tiananmen Square, they all spurg out, and then you're going wondering why, because they just believed everything that the government tells them. So I said, so this is my kind of how would I put it? Like she has to do a presentation on the NDP and how awesome they are. This is my little attempt. So I put here, both the Conservatives and Liberals have members who are part of the World Economic Forum, an organization of unelected corporate elite who are dictating what sovereign nations should and should not do, although the current NDP leader, Jagmeet, is also a part of. She has to speak about a justice thing. From a justice perspective, they are not too far off from what the Liberals are promoting, i.e. multiculturalism and forced medical, which is against my body, my choice narrative that is being promoted. Very similar to the government allowing you to smoke and making a profit from it on the behest of that profit, trying to stop you from smoking while saying it's bad for you, but allowing you to do it. But here we are with the pandemic, but, blah, 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 and ostracizing if you don't do blah, 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 which is outside of the liberal right of my body, my choice. Another point. Both the Conservatives and Liberals have a problem, reaction, solution approach to issues. Really not much different from the NDP. So if you're going to vote for a Liberal or a Conservative, you might as well vote for an NDP, because what's the difference? Plus, orange is better than the color red and blue, which is more neutral. So because I have to push it in terms of like she has to pimp out the NDP, but I don't want her students to be mind warped, right? I want to give that little bit of inception. So I continued like point number 3. The NDP like to basically copy everything else, so their stance on the Indigenous women inquiry is the same. Again, might as well vote for NDP because the orange is cooler. So the other point is they want to ensuring the National Repository of Criminal Records is regularly updated. Might as well vote for everyone this as well. It's the same. But again, since it's digital ID, orange is cooler. So I tried to incept like you could tell what they're doing in the schools. It's terrible. Like it's terrible. Not to say they didn't do it in my like they pumped multiculturalism in my high school days so much, so much, and that hollow thing, you know what I'm talking about, right? Wink, wink, say, kiss, kiss, say no more, say no more. On that topic, so the other previously that she had to do like kind of discuss what is the NDP's platforms. One of them is UBI, but that's a liberal thing. So we're just going to rename it and called GLI, guaranteed livable income, right? So GLI. So instead of calling it, and it's basically it's all bullshit, right? So I was doing some research for her, and I came across this organization, and I don't think you were aware of it when I brought it to your attention, right?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
The UBI works.
Oh yeah, I'd heard. I hadn't really looked into that.
So again, once again, we're with either I can't figure out if they're a charity or they're not a corporation. They're either an NPO, an NGO, or because their span is continental America, or they're just like an NGO, right? So NPO and NGO or charity, basically all kind of same thing. So basic income, who pays, not you. Right? Push your party. Bill C-223 for guaranteed livable income. You talked about this to me the other day, right? You had some knowledge.
Yeah, that was actually the old version of it. That died when the last election was called. Now it was brought back as a Senate Bill S-233.
Yeah, it's
basically the same thing.
Yeah, so they have C-223 and then C-273. Yeah, now it's another one. But it's at the Senate level, right?
Yeah, S-233.
And it's at the Senate level. And these people are absolutely ridiculous because they think that where's this pool of money coming from? So you're going to rob the lower middle and upper middle class to give to the no class so that you offset the taxes that a lot of these corporations and very affluent people don't pay while making us still pay for it. It's insane. So if you look at how they're planning to calculate this, I'm not going to get into too much detail. Okay, so external link. Okay, why am I going to all these external links? Okay, who pays for? Probably not you. Okay, that takes me. I'm gonna go back here. I think it was their fact sheet here. These are all communitarians, by the way, which is another fancy word for saying Fabianists, which is another word for... by the way, I think we should do a show on Fabianism. Get Andy on here, because he's quite the expert on that. I've been going through like the history of it. It's very interesting. UBI, like, where is this? Technology has contributed to the displacement of work. Look, these talking points are hilarious. Technology has contributed to job displacement and wage stagnation over 40 years. Yeah, I know one thing that's leading to job displacement and obliteration of the wages. We talked about it tonight. Nearly half of Canadian jobs are at high risk of automation. Who's pushing the digital? Huh? Sorry?
Yeah, well, they don't want to address the issue of what's really driving down wages.
Right. But And they're the one that these they want. You want me to lobby the government who's pushing for digital transformation projects, right? Pushing everything for automation and immigration, and you want me to? Are these people like really, retarded? Are you retarded? Basic income significantly improves health and educational outcomes. Now, I'm trying to find where their program is. Basically, they're saying, in addition to your income, you'll get monthly $2,000 roughly, and their plan is to pool in the money from corporates. We all know about the legal cases on Big Pharma, and it didn't even make a fucking dent in their bottom line. But it just made, I'm kind of trying to find where their stupid thing is here. Maybe I'll do it another day. Again, what does this do? It primarily ties you to the government. And if we move to a digital ID system, and let's say you start to find your wages decrease and stuff, and you start to rely more and more on this UBI, and because of you saw this new DSA agreement in EU, if you say something bad socially online, these people will absolutely cut you off from UBI. That's one of the primary reasons, even if you're on the lower scale of income brackets, you should not be accepting this. Be your own person. Improve on yourself. Be a man. Or in many cases, a woman. But, be a man. Be self-sufficient. Anyways, that's all I have. I think they had partners here. Cover you basically go to your region. Who pays? I remember. Is this? Yeah. Oh, here it is. Net cost of basic income is $51 billion. Funding options that don't tax many Canadians. Sorry, that don't tax most. Notice how they'll still be taxed, but they don't say most, while encouraging economic growth. Contributions of the financial sector. They think the companies who are always looking for the least amount for the greatest reward, right? Oh, bring in TFWs. We can pay them less. Fuck it. Let's automate everything. Fire them. They think that they're going to get $15 billion. Like, where is this coming from? Fewer tax breaks for large companies. Are you kidding me? Fewer. They barely pay taxes right now anyway. Which company is going to pay more? Like, seriously, they'll just go to the States. $19 billion. Fewer subsidies for the wealthiest. Well, then I can just begin to say, if you're a politician, you don't get you're going to be like the rest of us when it comes to pensions, and you're going to make a measly $60,000, $70,000 a year. That's fair. That's not going to happen. None of this shit is realistic. Here they say realistic guaranteed basic income of $1,500. So it's not even $2,000 a month. That won't tax working Canadians. Aspirational 8 ways to pay for recovery UBI. $500 a month to all adults, increasing 2 months based on income. Like, one day I'm just going to sit and do an analysis on this, and I'm just going to tear this to shreds. Anyway. I think that's all I got. I bitched and moaned. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's check out the chat. We got Faye in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm good too. I think.
Okay, cool.
I'm good as well.
Who do I see here? SL two T's. Visible name. Who here has gone through Bill Cooper's Hour of the Time radio show. I don't know what that is, but maybe I'll check it out. What else do we have? Matt the Unseated. Hey, ladies and germs, good to talk, but don't let my message distract your objectives here. Telegram Live. Yes, I should probably try Telegram Live. I know Angry does it a lot, so I'll give that a try. But yeah. I think I'm going to close it out here. Any last thoughts, like, how the kitty's doing?
Kitties are fine. They're just bonkers.
As usual. Stock up on bags.
Yes.
Now that they're phasing that shit out, just go to the supermarket. This is what I used to do. I used to, like, when the self-checkouts had the bags, I just I take a bunch of bags and throw it in the original bag and put my stuff in there. And when it says how many bags you take, you just put one. So I'll be going all over Ontario, just stocking up on my cat poop bags, because pretty soon you'll be buying very expensive ones. But anyways, I think I'll cut that out for now. We will see you back regularly here, right? And we'll get more in depth into talks. This was just a short one, so let me play the outro. Yeah. No clips.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Yep. Oh, by the way, I just want to mention one more thing. Congrats to you on your number of copies sold on your books.
Oh, thank you. 200 for all of them combined.
That's not bad. That's actually quite a good accomplishment. So if anyone is interested, Canucklaw does have a bunch of books. Yeah. If you want to tell the crew.
Two of them are on this totally real pandemic. One's on banking and climate change. The other's on immigration and borders. So it's a bit of everything.
Check it out. You can get a digital copy. And how much are the digital copies?
The digitals is $9.90, is $10 all around.
So $10, guys. $10. Yeah. Better to give it into that Sokokia or some Scotia something, whatever. Buying his, huge mega-brained.
And I actually wrote mine.
That's right. Anyway. All right, guys.
Can you get a signed copy? So I'm just reading the chat. Can we get a signed copy? I guess.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah. If they, I think, how would that work? Like, would they would purchase it and then you could sign it, right? I think that's a great idea. God damn it! I should have asked you to sign my copies.
Send to me and then I sign it.
Yeah.
Or do I sign it and then send it back off?
I think it'd be better if you signed it and then sent it off. But damn it, I'm now thinking that I should have had all my copies signed by you.
Oh. Okay.
I could still send it to you. You could sign it. Anyways, guys. Appreciate for everyone joining. Please like and subscribe. Help us get to at least 1,000. That allows me a little bit of perks with YouTube. I'm not asking. I'm not going to be like all those other freedom fighters. Please give me money. I don't want your money. I just want you to listen to us and what we have to kind of inform you guys on. And it's good to listen to everybody and see everybody watching us. It's a community. It definitely is a community. Anyways, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Right.
Take care.